In my Kucha presentation, I introduce to you 8 contemporary artists who include portraiture and human form in some way in their work. Along with images of the work, there is an image of the artist, so that you can relate the work to a face. Additionally, I hope that the selected pieces give you an idea of concept, materials, and techniques. In Alan Alfest's work, highly detailed veins, hairs, and wrinkles go hand in hand with tapestry carpets, wilting plants, and damaged cacti, which are carefully positioned so that every element of the composition emphasizes one another. Layers of dim, contrasting color and varying textures make up the enlarged objects in these borderline abstract works. There is evidence of intense observation and scrutiny of the live models Alfest produces her work from. The paintings produced using oil and tiny brushes on small-scale canvas may make the viewer feel like they are intruding on a private moment, despite there also being a sense of detachment. Michael Borman's pale-skinned figures and flat backgrounds, with brushstrokes still visible as if unfinished, ooze a feeling of endless emptiness. A flushed palette is used to make up the human features, which are blank and expressionless, like pawns in a game of admission and helplessness. Within the thinness of his works, Bormans goes beyond logic to make the viewer question reality, leading to confusion and obscurity despite being very simple. The sometimes cut-off figures are resonant of the incomplete tales they tell. It is difficult to put said figures which look like they are acting into context. They are what they are, which seems like nothing at all. In some cases, Bormans repeats elements of his work, such as Man with Bonnet seen in 2005, then in 2008 in The Load, yet this does not give any deeper understanding of the work, actually making it vaguer. If I were to relate a sound to these oils on canvas, a white noise would come to mind. Despite many opportunities to travel internationally with his art, Jitish Kalat stayed close to home and his main source of inspiration, Mumbai. His mostly collage and acrylic works on canvas or linen are like walking through the hustling, bustling city, teeming with life. The crowded hair, full of intricate characters in his portraits, refer to the dense population. Even the titles, such as Sweatopia or Rickshawopolis, attempt to give an idea of everyday life in town. Throughout the work, there is a constant play of calm within the backgrounds, which are made up of warm sari-like colors, and chaos with the many elements that make up the foreground. The bronze gargoyles the work typically rests on are similar to those found at the Victoria Terminus building, a center of activity and memory of the once British colony. Despite being painted, Kalat's pieces have a digital feel, and recently he is taking a rather surreal direction by introducing abstracted body parts, hence bringing mortality into play. Cecilia Edefalk states that she is intrigued by repetition as something that brings out a unique quality in the medium she works with, which is typically oil on canvas, as well as giving installed work a poetic rhythm. Interestingly, only the first work would be produced from a photograph, with the replicas then painted off each other. Elements of missing information through multiple layers, such as in Sabina 1, adds to a sense of mystery and intrigue. Additionally, in Matrix 261, pastel blue paintings are exhibited with bronze sculptures to add three-dimensionality. These not only contrast with the faded-out colors she works with, but also add an interesting perspective for the viewer. Nigerian-born Njideka Kunili uses collage not as a primary focus in her work, rather as another medium making up her mixed media painting. Acrylic, pastel, color pencils, Xerox transfers, oils, and even crushed marble are also used. The collage making up the figures bleed into the surroundings, unifying the work and giving a sense of a connected environment. Additionally, said collages also narrate the stories behind the people portrayed, with emphasis to the love and intimacy between an interracial couple. Contrasting colors as well as geometric patterns reflect traditional African clothing and add to the character of Akunili's work, while the sometimes cropped figures and use of space adds dynamic energy. Tonka Gyatso's work ties ancient and modern, sacred and secular. These elements make each other possible with the use of negative space. Gyatso marks on silk, embroidered fabric, or treated paper with intricate brushwork reminiscent of Tibetan Thangka painting. The colorful visuals are inspired by traditional Buddhist icons and Western industrial visual culture. Born in China and having studied studied traditional Chinese brush painting, he later moved to countries with Western culture, which despite appreciating, he noticed the flaws of a materialistic lifestyle. Golden ratio is referred to compose the Buddha figures, making Gyatso's work a deep reflection on the echoing past, looking sadly onto a future of globalization. Adriana Mulder's large-scale paintings stare intensely at the viewer. Indian and Chinese ink and acrylic are usually used, with tracing paper as support. This paper does not carry water well, so control is taken away from Mulder when working, replaced by spontaneity, as it folds and creases. This may be a reflection on the life of celebrities she frequently portrays, having lost absolute control on life due to being too well known. Recently, Mulder is introducing a bright red acrylic to the mystical mask-like portraits, which, apart from emphasizing features and balancing out negative space, adds an element of alarm to the ever-evolving work. Vast planes of negative space make up Justin Mortimer's work. The human form is dwarfed in comparison to the massive supports used, as well as in the heavy sense of morbidity. When seen in person, these paintings are immensely moving due to the scale, detail, and profound use of chiaroscuro. Composition is usually made up of glossy garbage bags, decontamination units, and rubble walls, which all have monstrous plague-like qualities. The figures, sometimes lying down or contorted, perhaps dead, may be seen as victims of life's frivolities or of war, sent out to fight with as much regard as butcher meat, having the Yugoslav wars particularly in mind. These barbaric sadomasochistic scenes are prepared for by editing and manipulating images into the preferred result. The vast compositions are started, covered up, and continued unless forgotten, resulting in layers of dark, missing information.